Let's talk about the difference between shared versus private resources. So, a shared resource is something that can be shared across multiple trips. A private resource is something that you would like to block off when a single trip is booked. In our example today, we're going to work on an activity for a shared party bus. So, you might have a bus that can accommodate up to 20 guests, or there are 20 seats on the bus. And in your account, you might want to offer a shared tour where one person can book a trip for four people, another person can book a trip for five people, and so on until the bus is full. This is a great way to fill up the bus. There will be a lot of different reservations and a lot of shared groups using that resource at the same time. And then you might have another option where a customer can book a private experience. So, whether or not they fill up the entire bus, you want to make sure that since both experiences are using the same resource, when a private trip is booked, that resource is pulled out of inventory so that your shared activity can no longer be booked. So, starting with the shared party bus activity we have here, we're looking at the resource usage settings. You'll want to select Advanced and then look at the sharing settings drop down at the top. In order to make this activity have a shared resource, you want to set it up so that only passengers from the same experience can use the bus resource. And what this means is if I book a trip for me and a bunch of my friends, it will pull, and we end up paying and the trip goes into reserve status, it will pull this bus out of inventory and assign me and the rest of my group a seat on the bus. Now, even though we didn't fill up the bus, it will keep the date and time that we've booked open for just this experience, but then any other experience that is able to use the bus resource will be closed off and unavailable for booking. And this is really helpful because, again, you might not be able to accommodate a shared experience and a private experience at the same time. Once this is set up, you'll select Save to save your changes. The next step is you want to head over to that private experience that you have set up in your account. So we switched over to our private party bus activity, and we're looking under that same resource usage setting, the Advanced tab. And then now for the sharing settings, we're going to set it to only passengers from the same trip. And what this setting allows you to do is you're telling the system whenever this private party bus is booked and a trip is utilizing the resource, even though they're not filling up the bus, do block off that resource and take it out of inventory and make that date and time unavailable. This will give the customers the entire bus. It's private. It won't be shared amongst other parties. And then at the bottom, you're going to hit Save. So let's take a look at what these examples look like. Here we're looking at a trip that Cindy Abraham booked for the shared party bus experience. It's booked for Thursday, May 16th at 9 a.m. Now remember, this is the shared experience, so Cindy's only booked for 5 guests, and our bus actually has up to 20 seats available. So people can still book the shared party bus for May 16th at 9 a.m., but they can no longer book that private experience. And let's take a look at what it looks like from the booking widget perspective. So looking at the booking widget, if you were to select this shared party bus experience and select the 16th where that customer had booked her experience, you can see that the 9 a.m. time slot now has 15 available. So again, the bus has 20 seats. That customer booked for 5 guests, and the shared party bus rental is still available for others to book if they wanted to. Heading back on the widget and selecting the private party bus for the 16th, we can see that the 9 a.m. time slot is now showing as sold out because, again, we can't have somebody book the private experience if there was already a shared experience booked. Now, let's take a look at an example of somebody who's booked a private party and see how the availabilities look for customers attempting to book a shared experience. So looking at this sample trip, we can see James Jones has booked a private party bus experience for May 22nd at 6 o'clock. Now, he only booked for 4 guests, so he didn't fill up the bus, but he still did book a private party. So looking at the booking widget, if you select the private party bus experience and select the 22nd when that customer booked their trip, you can see that the 6 o'clock time slot is sold out and unavailable. So again, this means that nobody else can book the experience because it was a private party. Going back to the widget, if we now look at the shared experience on that same date, we can see the 6 p.m. time slot is also closed for the shared party bus. And again, this is because for private experiences, this will trigger something across all experiences using the bus so that it brings it out of inventory and nobody else can book it. If you have any questions on this, let us know.